happened on the night of Easter Sunday. My older brother and I had been roommates for a few years, living in an apartment about a 15-minute walk away from our parents. Every year, we would walk there to have dinner with our parents for Easter. Our apartment and our parents' house were separated by a fairly large park, but a trail went straight through it, which crossed under a bridge at about the halfway mark. It was early in the evening when my brother and I made our way through the park toward our parents. We weren't the only people out there, but it was becoming very empty. By the time we made it to the bridge, we hadn't seen anyone in a few minutes. That's when we started hearing something moving in the bushes. We both stopped and looked all around, trying to see where the rustling was coming from. Sometimes, we would get to see a raccoon or something crawling out of a bush, but we didn't find anything. After a few seconds, we kept walking and passed under the bridge, and when we came out the other side, we heard a whistle. It sounded like it was a person whistling, not a bird or anything. We just ignored it and kept walking, picking up the pace quite a bit to exit the park as soon as possible. We eventually made it to our parents' place a few minutes later, but by then, we were able to joke about how we'd gotten so spooked out by essentially nothing. We soon forgot about it as we had Easter dinner with our family and stayed for a few hours to catch up and hang out with everyone. Once it was starting to get late, people started to head home, so my brother and I followed suit. While saying our goodbyes, I talked with my brother about getting an Uber home and avoiding the walk through the pathway since it was late. He told me I was overreacting and convinced me that nothing would happen, and so we left the house and re-entered the park. As we were walking, it was pitch black. There weren't any streetlights around, so we had to use the flashlights from our phones to guide us home. I never walked through the park this late at night and had always found it relaxing and peaceful, but without light, the whole place was creepy as hell. I was about to say something to my brother about how we should have gotten a ride, but just at that moment, we heard something nearby. It was the same rustling sounds we heard before, but in the darkness, so it felt twice as loud. A few seconds later, we heard the whistle again too. A chill ran down my spine, and I know my brother felt it too. That's when we both started speed walking down the path. We knew we were almost halfway home when we saw the bridge, but we didn't slow down. We walked into the tunnel and hurried to the other side, making it out in half the time it usually took us. Getting out of there never felt so relieving. That is until we heard the whistle again. This time, it sounded like it was right behind us. We looked over our shoulders at the same time and saw it. There stood a man standing at the other side of the tunnel. He was dressed as the Easter Bunny, but he was holding an axe. Something about the sight of him made us stop dead in our tracks. Frozen with fear, we looked at him, then at each other, then back at him, trying to make sense of it.
What's up with that guy? Maybe he works at the mall? Sure, because every kid wants a picture.